All right, we're going to get back to that amazing verses or chapters in a second, but let me ask you also an important question. How many of you guys like going to garage sales? Raise your hand. I knew I liked the first service. They're the lazy bums, all right? They like three of them like, I'm not liking garage sales. They all lie. All right, so you love garage sales. I love, my grandmother taught me garage selling, and she taught me these tricks. You ready for the tricks? All right. You always come up to a garage sale. By the way, did you know that there's an app for yard sales that tells you exactly where the yard sales are, and it actually maps out your yard sales? That's probably the best. No, it's definitely not the best thing we hear today, but that's good right there. That's for sure. It's an app. All right, so with that being said is you have to, it's called the drive-by. Now, it's not a drive-by shooting. It's a drive-by looking. All right, you know what I'm saying? You drive by slowly, and then all of a sudden you make a quick glance. And with inside that 3-second glance, because you don't want to look weird. If you 2 seconds, then it's like you got a crick in your neck. 4 seconds, come to find out you're a creeper. Okay, it has to be 3 seconds. So you're driving along, you look 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then you formulate. You formulate the plan whether to stop or to go to the next one, because in the middle of that, you get to find out if it's worthy to be stopped. So that makes sense? It's all right. But here's the bottom line. If there's more than 6 white tables, because there are always those white big tables, it's worthy to stop. Why? Because you never know what's on that table. You never know what's on that table. The whole classic, one man's junk is another man's what? Treasure. Oh, you know that, absolutely. So kind of the same thing. You walk up, and I remember sometimes you go up and you pick up this item, and you're like, hey, how much? How much? And you look at it, and it seems super valuable. And you're like, how much? 25 cents. I'll give you a penny. They're like, fine, take a penny, because they just want to get rid of a table. By the way, another trip, either go really early or really late. All right, because if you go really late, you get all the junk and you can resell it at your garage sale. All right, if you go really early, you can find these treasures hidden in the rough a little bit. So you ask, I remember, I don't know if it was a garage sale, so for illustration's sake, let's say it was at a garage sale. My son, I found it's like one of these boats, like wooden boats, and it's like, I don't know, it's a boat thingy. All right, you with me in a wooden boat thingy? Just a boat. Wooden boat. Okay, it's a boat. Okay. And I got it because I thought my son would really like it. So I got it for him for like 25 cents, maybe $1. I mean, maybe I went that high and got buy it for $1. Got home, gave it to my son, and it sat in his bedroom for a long time until my son learned about Google, which was probably at 2 years old. But he learned about Google, and he typed up, and he tried to find this boat. There's little make and models and everything. And he came to me just the other day, probably, I don't know, whenever. He came to me and he's like, hey, did you know that boat? And I'm like, what boat? The boat you bought me when I was like in your mother's womb type of thing. Long time ago. And I said, yeah, I remember that. And he's like, you know what? According to Google, and since Google's always right, according to Google, it's worth $1,000 or more. And I'm like, dude, we just diamond in the rough right there. I mean, how many guys have ever found a diamond in the rough at a garage sale? Raise your hand. Okay, all right. Everybody else, you just have closets of junk that you tried, all right? I mention all that is because what other people think is junk, it might be worth something.